everyone, welcome to Monday Must-Sees. This is going to be my third episode, and what I do every week is I hop on Mondays and talk about a different city and tourist destination and give you from the tourist perspective what types of things you want to go check out there. So on today's episode, I'm actually going to be covering Europe for the first time in my series, and in particular I'm going to be talking about Tirana, Albania. And I'll admit, Albania is not one of the first countries that comes to mind, and definitely Tirana is not one of the first cities that comes to mind when you think about Europe. But it's actually picking up a lot more popularity lately because Albania is one of the few countries that people from the United States can go visit without any sort of COVID test, without any sort of quarantine. So I'm having more and more people ask me about it, so I figured let me give you tourist perspective, what is it like going to Albania, what to look out for. So I'm going to actually start off with a map so you can see exactly where Albania is, and then we'll go from there. Must-stay hotel, I'm going to recommend the Plaza Hotel. It's 24 stories tall and was completed back in 2015, so it's really new. It looks like an extremely modern building from the outside as well, and because it's really tall, no matter really where you are in town, you're easily able to find your way back to the hotel. The most important thing I would say about the hotel is that the staff goes above and beyond to make sure that you have a fabulous stay. The rooms were extremely clean and everyone was just so friendly. And what I would also recommend is if you're flying into Tirana, have somebody from the airport come pick you up. The price made a lot of sense and they were so exceptionally professional. I had an early morning flight and they were prepared for me. I had a late arrival. They were prepared for me. If I go back to Tirana, I would absolutely 100% recommend that you stay at the Plaza Hotel. Okay, so for your must-see view, I'm actually going to give you two recommendations. The first one is going to the clock tower, and this is in the main part of town. The only reason that I'm a little bit hesitant to make it my only recommendation is that the hours are very limited and it's tough to get there. If you do get the chance to go in it, I mean, you're going to be passing it a lot. I found like pretty much every time I was walking by, even if it was supposed to be open, it was closed. But it's going to give you a 90-step walk up to an observation area that you can look out over the city, and it's a historical building. It's definitely special, but just be aware that it might not be open when you're planning to do it, so have a lot of flexibility if you are planning to do it. And I'll show you quickly here what the clock tower looks like. So your other must-see view, I'm actually going to recommend a mall to go to, and it's called Toptani Mall, and it's open a lot more hours than the clock tower is. It's a bit taller, so you also are getting a better view out of it. So from the Toptani Mall, what I would recommend is go over to the pizza place, and by the way, the pizza was really good as well. But from there, they've got these really huge windows just all around, and you can get a great view of the mosque, and I would say it's probably the best view in the entire town of seeing this gorgeous mosque that they have in Tirana. So if you have any difficulty getting to the clock tower, no, Toptani Mall is your other backup must-view location. So your must-relax place is Skanderbeg Square, and this is the main central square in town, and it doesn't like have trees or anything to sit and just be in the shade, but this is going to be your main central part of town that you're constantly passing through, and if you need just a couple minutes to regroup and relax and figure out where you're going off to next, this is definitely going to be the place that you'll be going. And it's also going to be the start point for a tour I'm going to be talking about shortly. But one of the really cool defining pieces of this square is that in 2018 one of the political leaders got different tiles from around the country and put them down as the ground on this square, so it's actually a little bit uneven as well, but it was made to show this is truly Albania Square and for everything to be unified together. So it's just a really cool place to go, know the history, know the significance, and also just to catch a couple minutes breather as well. For my must tour with, that is going to be 100% the Tirana free tour, and I'll tag them here so you can find them. Something I truly love about them is so many of the other attractions I'm going to be telling you about, they're actually going to take you to see, and you're able to learn a lot more about the city than you could just based on a map. And also I have to give them a huge shout out because they are truly amazing. They truly care about what they're doing. They are so open to questions and sharing their experiences. By the end of the tour, you don't feel like you just were with a tour guide. You actually feel like a local friend. So definitely I would recommend to check them out, and be sure to tip them, because they're doing it for free doesn't mean that it should be just truly for free. They're giving you something that's so worth value, so make sure to give them a tip. For your must experience culture, I'm going to recommend that you go behind the National Gallery, and they have behind there these different communist statues. If you go on the free walking tour, they're also going to show you this as well. But as an American, I don't really truly understand all that went down with communism, and I know we're having a lot of debates about what do you do with some questionable statues, and it's really interesting to go to an area that was communist, and what did they do? How do they remember those statues? We're in a big debate in the US right now. Do we take down some of our questionable statues or not? And to see how a different culture handles that part of their history was a huge eye-opening experience, and it's free to check out, and I'll show you a picture here of what it actually looks like. My only in Tirana site is called The Cloud, and it is made out of steel. It's an art installation. It opened in 2016. I'm going to show you a picture of it. It's something that you can go inside or just look out from outside, but it is so cool. For something a little different, I'm going to make a must-see tribute, and that is going to St. Paul's Cathedral to check out all the Mother Teresa tributes. So when you get to the church, you're actually going to see on the right-hand side, they have a statue of Mother Teresa. Also look up and see St. Paul with his arms raised on top of the building as well. But once you go inside the church, look to the left, and you're going to see some stained glass windows, and they've got Mother Teresa on there. They've got Pope John Paul II on there, and then just a little bit further there, they've got this beautiful mosaic of Mother Teresa's face. Mother Teresa was born in North Macedonia, but she was Albanian, and the country is very proud of their heritage with her. They even have the airport named after her. So I would definitely recommend to make this detour. Even if you're not religious, it is such a cool experience. Everybody knows and loves Mother Teresa, so definitely take a couple minutes and go check out that church. If you are religious, I do recommend, as your must-pray place, going to the Orthodox Cathedral. It was built in 2012. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's not huge, but it is actually one of the largest churches for the Orthodox faith that are located in the Balkans. But because I feel like it's more quaint than some of the other churches I've been in, it just feels so spiritually uplifting and powerful. So I would definitely recommend to make a detour over to that church. Your must-see historical site is called the Pyramid. It was built in 1988 as a museum to the past communist leader, and then it became like some military grounds and was a television studio, and right now it's abandoned. When it was built, it was supposedly the most expensive building ever built in Albania, so it definitely helps to put things into a lot of perspective, just what communism was like and what types of buildings there were, but also the fact that it's abandoned now, just how far apart the city is from past. It is still a very important historical landmark. I would definitely recommend to check it out if you're into Instagrammable photos. This is a cool spot. It's not going to be the #1 recommendation I have for you, but I would definitely recommend to go check it out. Your must-eat recommendation is called Penne Vino, and what I really love about this place is a couple things. They spoke amazing English and they had English menus. The food was amazing. The staff was so attentive. I mean, every single person that was working there came over once to check in on me and make sure I was enjoying the food. The serving sizes were great. The price was excellent. And one thing that I really loved about it was, it's going to sound silly, but every time that they said that they were open, they were actually open. So had many other places I tried to go eat, and I would show up there when they were supposed to be open and they were closed, or they were open but there was absolutely nobody there, including people working there, and I had never really experienced that in many other countries, but this place found to be extremely consistent and reliable, and the food was incredible. So definitely plan to have at least one meal there, possibly even more meals there as well. There's one other food option I want to talk about, and it's going to sound silly at first, but that's going to KFC. So KFC is the only fast food restaurant in town, and I know, I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever gone to a KFC in the United States. But going to Albania, the KFC is something that a lot of citizens were extremely proud of, because they felt that it showed that they were so far away from communism and that they were joining more of the modern everyday world by having a KFC. So it's that's a bit more of a cultural experience than it would be really going to KFC anywhere else. But people were so proud of it and were so excited by it that it helps you really understand communism a bit more to see their excitement about KFC. Your must-visit museum is called bunk art, or essentially bunker art, because you're going inside of a bunker to go see it. There's two bunk arts. I'm talking about the one that is in the town center. I didn't make it to the one that's outside the city center, but people did tell me that's kind of a better one. But I really enjoyed and learned a lot from the bunk art that is located in the city center. So when you first walk in, you're kind of going inside this dome and you see all these pictures, and at first it looks so cool and Instagrammable, and then you learn actually about the history of the people in those pictures. And this museum is a chance to learn a bit about communism, and you go inside these different rooms and they've got some different artifacts and different stories, and it really helped to put things into bigger perspective than any history book I'd ever read. So I definitely recommend. It's a place to go. It's a cool experience where the museum is, but more important, it's a very amazing learning experience. Your Do It for the Gram location in Tirana is called the Heart Tunnel, and it is a small passageway that has a bunch of hearts in it. It also, as a heads up, does have some profane words on it as well. So if you are going with a child, maybe not the best location to go to, but in terms of just being like an adult going there, something very cool, unique, definitely different than most other places, and something that will give you some content for Valentine's Day as well. Finally, for my must-do detour, that is going to be taking a trip over to Kosovo. There's a company called Go As Local, which I'm going to put a swipe up here that you can learn more about them. But something I really love about them, they can turn this into a full day tour and truly show you so much of Kosovo, more than I found any other tour company could. So again, it's called Go As Local. Feel free to swipe up. And then one thing I would recommend when you are going there is actually ask if you can take a detour through the George Bush town, and know what you're talking about. So when George Bush was president, he went over to Albania and he pretty much got like a hero's welcome. They loved him. So there's a huge statue of him. There's a bakery out there that he ate at as well, and it's just so cool to see another country celebrating a U.S. president. So it just will make your trip to Kosovo even more exciting to add that on as a third little stop as well. That's going to wrap up my Monday must-see about Tirana, Albania. I'd love to know, do you want to visit Albania after learning this information tonight? Also, just let me know here if you have any questions about Albania and visiting Albania, and I'll try my best to answer them as well.